Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by The Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
Tom, what is your vice?
That's a good question, Kevin. I think it might be procrastination, but I think I'm going to have to wait and get back to you on that.
I don't know what my vice would be in the kitchen because my vice is food. This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Kevin Arnovitz.
And I'm Tom Haberstroh.
Tom, welcome to a new phase of Pack Your Knives. Since we are probably months and possibly years away from Top Chef 18, this is the season 6. You can call it a rewatch, you can call it a time capsule, you can call it a throwback, but here at Pack Your Knives, for the next several weeks, fire up your Top Chef season 6. I don't know if you're Amazon Prime or wherever you can find it. It is available widely. And then check out Pack Your Knives. We're going to go back in time. We're going to review what Tom Colicchio on this very program called his favorite Top Chef season ever. It is regarded as one of the best concentrations of talent. It is regarded as a season where the show really hit its stride. Tom, get excited.
I don't know what I was expecting going into this episode, Kevin, but it was so much fun to watch episode 1. I don't know whether I didn't expect this to be as fun as it was, to kind of see that time capsule aspect of like opening up an old pack of baseball cards and remembering the smell and how things used to be. And, there's Robin Yount with that goatee and like, I forgot about that. Like I kind of got this nostalgic just wave watching this show. It was only 2009. Kevin, when this episode aired, but it really did feel like in some ways it's just Top Chef, magical elves doing their thing, but there are little things that just made this so much fun for me to watch.
I mean, I love that your frame of reference for like retro baseball is Robin Yount, because that was like my prime baseball. Like for me, it was Rick Russell and Ron LaFleur, and like Greg Lazinski. You're so much younger than me. It's ridiculous.
Paul Molitor and Robin Yount.
Yeah, that was prime. That was like prime baseball for me. Anyway, it was also interesting to see the production value, how different and how much more refined the show has gotten. And I can't wait to talk about that. I think coming off All-Star Season 17, Tom, I think you would agree the talent level, and no disrespect to the good competitors of Season 6, but a far cry from Season 17. It kind of speaks to the old basketball thing the debate that rages among the oldsters that, oh, back in the day we were better. No, and then that Steve Kerr comment, which I've always appreciated, where he said, oh, of course not, because people don't evolve. It's not like later incarnations of people are better than others. I mean, for him, it was so obvious that, of course, the collective chef community in 2020 is going to be better than what it was in 2006, when it was better than what it was in 1984. And so I think just watching just even specific dishes, I was so amused, Tom, by Mateen's little like mashed potatoes and the little zucchini rind that looked like something out of Michael's in 1990, that's a dish that I think we'd all get a giggle out of. I mean, not that it doesn't taste good, or I can't speak to the taste. We never can. But it was so much fun going in this time machine, because it's just things have changed. I have to admit, the other thing is, and this is senility, Tom, I barely remembered anything.
I know. I recognize them, like, oh yeah, there's Ash, and oh yeah, there's Eve, or whoever it was, where I'm like, oh yeah, I vaguely remember Mateen and how just bright and kind of like a cartoonish character he is. Where it's
I mean, actually, he's kind of sexy too. So I mean, I'm just gonna say that. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
in my home, he was who we were watching.
Really?
I don't expect you to have a grasp on this. It's okay.
No. Is it? Well, he's like 23. I mean, you guys are robbing the cradle.
Well, I mean, I get older. They all stay the same age.
All right. Yeah, I was watching Padma Colicchio with the flavor saver. I forgot about Tom Colicchio's little soul patch there.
Soul patch. How amazing is the soul patch?
Yeah, it was. It was only 10 years ago when this aired, and I feel like, man, this was decades ago. But I from the very beginning, it felt a little bit different, and I'll tell you why. The intros, the music, like all of it was, oh yeah, that's the music that was ruling this show for years and years and years. And they've kind of gone away from the more traditional, like you still get the same little guitar riff, a little hint of the original music from the show, the theme songs. But from the intros where they're kind of doing these little like action shots, and Michael Voltaggio's, pushing his brother, and it's like, it's kind of gimmicky, but I thought it was so charming. I loved it. And it was a little different. And since we haven't, for those who are listening, Kevin and I haven't gone back and rewatched like every season before. So
I haven't watched any seasons. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. So this was like, we're kind of coming into this with a vague recollection of how things went. And right off the bat, I don't know about you, but I felt like it was different. It definitely felt different.
Yeah, and also speaking to the production value and how much more refined, like there were things actually that I won't say annoyed me, but I realized I've gotten better at. Like I was frustrated watching the winners judges table where they're talking about the dish, and I needed a, how they kind of pan and have that shot with the voiceover in the background where when Gail Simmons is complimenting, Mike Isabella's dish, there would normally be that we see the plate, remind me what he did again, because there's 17 chefs. Like that was missing. And likewise on the chopping block, as they're criticizing the dish, I didn't really get to a look at it. I could be wrong here, but I know on the winners it was like that. And then while they're deliberating, they bring back the dish. But it was, I became grateful that the show now in its current incarnation has a more practical viewing experience. Like I need to know, I need to remind me what the dish looked like. Even though I just saw it 15 minutes ago, there's 17 of these things. You know what else was cute, Tom?
Yeah.
Was like the deliberate way when they finally came to a decision, like Padma says, I think we've come to a decision. And then the New Days, that's just enough. But then it's like, Tom, I think we made the right decision. And then Gail Simmons.
There's a little huddle.
Right. It's like, okay, you can tell that somewhere along the way between 6 and 17, the producers are like, okay, fine. It's just like everyone knows what's going on here. Padma gives I think we made a decision, and we go right to it, right? Like we don't have to pretend that there's this great, like the Sanhedrin is meeting and like they're going to like render a judgment on this piece of law. Like it was very funny to kind of see how They've come to have confidence in the conventions of the show, and they don't feel the need to kind of play it up anymore. And it just speaks to, just as good as season 6 clearly is, that like the show has evolved and become even more refined and more good at what it does.
You know, the other thing I noticed, Kevin, and that's a great point, is the confessionals. The confessionals, they kept the off-angle interview camera angle. So like, now it's you're staring into the camera. In the confessionals, when Melissa King is looking into the camera and talking about a dish, she's talking to you, like the listener, the watcher at home. Like Stephanie Smar is talking to you, whereas now they're talking off camera to someone in an interview. And the confessionals have changed too, in which like Mike Isabella is talking to obviously a producer who's off camera, but in now it's different. And I noticed that right off the bat is the confessionals are angled. They're talking to someone off camera and it's less intimate. It also feels less rehearsed or less polished, which adds, I think, a little bit more to that rawness that we get in earlier seasons than what we didn't get as much in season 17 All-Stars. Maybe that's partly because these people had the chefs in season 17 had already done this before, and so I
think that's it. Really, I really do.
That's a big part of it, but also looking off to the camera and talking to the interviewer is different than what we saw this season.
Yeah, I mean, the show's definitely become more formalized. I mean, they know what works and they know what doesn't. And again, it's a reflection of a show that has just had 16 seasons to figure out, its strengths and its weaknesses, things that didn't work. I want to talk more about all this stuff, but we're not going to do, I think, the full rehash, which we do during current seasons where we go through like every dish and whatnot. I think there's some fun things to talk about. The Quickfire was sort of a Top Chef classic, right? It's the relay. Which, frankly, I think we saw something similar.
Yeah, it was
at the beginning of season 7.
Yep.
This happened to be seafood, clams, spot prawns, lobster, and what am I forgetting? Or that was it, right?
It was clams, lobster, and the prime rib that they had to.
The ribs at the end, right. So it was a little surf and turf action. By the way, I am someone who's I love lobster. But I'm someone who's stopped eating it because I'm not going to do any work.
Oh,
and
no, you're not one of those people.
And like the tail is good, but it's like you never have enough. Like I'm always stopping for tacos on the way home whenever I have like a lobster tail because there's just never enough food. It's great. But I will say this. If I had Mateen's skills, I would eat lobster every day. I would just like have them shipped live to the. Well, actually, I can't do that. Dropping them in boiling water just it freaks me out.
Yeah, and that wasn't very humane. It was like a slow.
Well, no. It was no. I think they weren't alive. Were they alive?
Yeah.
They were alive?
Kevin, when you drop a lobster into the boiling water, you're talking to New England.
No, I'm saying, is that what they did on the show? I just watched it last night.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean,
Mateen,
I suppressed that.
Yeah, he kind of slowly dipped the lobster into this giant pan of boiling water, and like what you're supposed to do is just like, well, at least I do, is just like throw them in there, and so it just zaps them. But that lobster, I love it as someone who grew up in New England, and summers are often about just going to Stu Leonard's and grabbing like, a $5.99, 1 pound lobster, 1.5 pound lobster, and cooking, steaming it at home, getting out the crackers, and then you just go to town. One of my favorite things ever is teaching my wife Allison how to break down a lobster because there's a real art to it. And watching this, that's the one that I would like to get. If you had the choice, Kevin, if you were in the mise en place relay, you could either shuck 15 clams, you could devein and shell 30 prawns, or break down 5 lobsters, or butcher a prime rib. Which one are you going for there? Like, which one do you feel most confident about?
Like, I've gotten decent at like those spot prawns, like ripping off the head. I mean, I can shuck oysters reasonably well for a civilian. The clams,
these are clams, man.
Right. And like, I mean, that was poor Pretty. Oh my God. That was painful to watch. Like she was just and apparently it's just a different experience. I've never shucked clams.
Me neither.
And so clearly I would be in the same situation she was in. I've gotten pretty decent at the good old the good old spot prawns. I can do that.
Okay. Now, Jen Zavala, she just sliced up her hand cutting up or shucking the clams. And I don't know about you. What would you prefer? Nails on a chalkboard or watching people struggle shucking clams?
Watching people struggle shucking clams. Nails on a chalkboard really bother me. I'm sorry. I don't want to see anyone suffer.
I can't watch people shucking clams. It gives me super anxiety. And also, I throw this one in there. What about watching people chew ice?
I know people who have a problem with that. As somebody who, frankly, chews ice all the time, I'm an ice chewer. I'm sorry. I don't understand the issue. But I mean, I would certainly defer to a dining companion who didn't want me to do that. But I have never in my life had an issue with it. It's just not something that bothers me.
But Jen just sliced up her hand shucking those oysters, and she just kept moving along. I appreciated that. The mise en place was, it's kind of a blur who was on what team. But this was the first time, Kevin, that I realized how much TV has changed. And maybe I don't watch enough TV shows or reality TV anymore. But Mike Isabella, with his sexist commentary, was a holy shit moment for me. Was when at one point he's like, I don't think women should be able to shuck as quickly as men do. And it was like an offhand comment. I was like, oh, that seemed a little bit over the line. And then later in the episode, he dropped a couple more. And I was like thinking to myself, Kevin, I'm wondering, do you think...
Hello, listener. It's producer Mays here to talk to you about Kindred. Now close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS. Hello, listener. It's producer Mays here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with the cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings.
Listener, listen up. This is important. Okay, I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago, and I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
This episode is brought to you by 20th Century Studios' new film, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Starring Golden Globe winner Jeremy Allen White and Academy Award nominee Jeremy Strong. Scott Cooper, the director of the Academy Award-winning movie Crazy Heart, brings you the story of the most pivotal chapter in the life of an icon. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Only in theaters October 24th. Get your tickets now.
I'm always looking for ways to show my cat how much I love her. And with Fancy Feast Gems, I can pamper her whenever I want with a savory gravy on top of a gourmet mousse pâté. The pyramid shape makes serving simple, so all I have to do is peel and plate to make mealtime feel extra fancy. And with 2 entrees in every pack, it's easy to turn every day into the extraordinary. Fancy Feast Gems.
People, do you think that would air in 2020, or do you think they've kind of realized, people, chefs on these shows have already self-censored themselves and they wouldn't really say those things? Or do you think like this is just a different time and different standards?
I think it's a little bit of both. And there was another one where Wolfgang Puck basically told Hector that here in the United States, we don't deep fry steaks. And I was just like, that would not fly. Certainly not fly. I mean, listen, I think there are probably contestants who would enjoy the edgelording and the trolling of throwing out a comment. And by the way, I tend to fall in the free expression, though. It just like Mike can say it, and Mike is an asshole, right? Like that is like, it's like the person is free to say what they want, and we are free to judge him as a troglodyte. But it was I got to tell you, the Wolfgang Puck, because like Mike Isabella was clearly like, I mean, he's just that guy, kind of insufferable, whatever. But like Wolfgang has a certain station in the culinary community. For him to tell a chef of Latino origin that like here in the United States, we don't fry our steaks and get the chicharron effect. Like, it's just like, come on, man. Yeah. Well, and then it was sort of like, well, we all have different traditions. Like, yeah. So, by the way, that said, I think Hector was wrong to deep fry his steak, but like not because it was like, I don't say that out of nationalistic pride. I just say it like it's a gorgeous steak, and I think one of the one of the contestants said it like, you're in Wolfgang Puck's cut and you're deep frying a steak. Like, I'm not a guy who wants a deep fried steak. And I shouldn't say that. Don't you like chicken fried steak?
Yeah, so that's kind of when I go to IHOP and I'm hungover, I get the chicken fried steak and home fries at IHOP. I'm not huge on pancakes, but if I go to IHOP, I'm getting the chicken fried steak, and it just soaks up everything, and you just go and take a nap for the rest of the day. Like, that's my ideal hangover food. Now, do I want it sitting there with Tom Colicchio, Padma Lakshmi, Gail Simmons, and Wolfgang Puck? Maybe not. Do I like a good chicharron? Yes. Delicious. You're talking about someone who lives in North Carolina right now. So I got that comment. I also got that comment from, I think it was Ron, who walks up to Jen Carroll and just says, oh, you worked at Eric Repair's restaurant? Were you the pastry chef? And I just
that one. Oh my God. Yes, I totally forgot about that one.
I just slapped my forehead like, what? Come on, man. You can't just say that. But like so many of these moments in this show, it felt like we were in the 50s.
Well, there was one other one. And it was less egregious, definitely. And I don't think Colicchio meant anything, and he kind of corrected himself. But it was this notion of like Ron is a Haitian chef who has gone through like truly, I mean, that particular like sea crossing as a
27
refugee
days.
I mean, it is a human experience. I just can't even fathom. And the only thing I can do is approach it with just incredible empathy and gratitude that I haven't had to deal with that. And so, he picks it as his vice. I mean, I also think there's a possibility that he's not a native English speaker. Like vice is a very particular word, and he kind of chooses as his vice that experience. And and Tom's like, I don't really understand how it's a vice. And I just, my reaction was, yeah, but you know what? Maybe his vice is like the PTSD from that experience. Like maybe you cut the guy a break, and he did. Ultimately, Tom was like, I was moved by your story. But you could tell that in the spirit of the competition, it was sort of like and look, I mean, Tom's not wrong by the letter of the law or by the letter of the, definition that, that experience isn't a vice in the way that, by the way, my favorite vice was the bad Jew vice. With the pork tenderloin.
I underlined that and said, please mention this.
That was
Kevin.
Robin Leventhal of Seattle. Which is like, I'm a bad Jew. Here's a pork tenderloin. Wait, there was another pork component on the plate. What was it? It was, oh God, I can't even remember now. But maybe chorizo. That kind of totally cracked me up.
That was so good.
But that was my thing, because it was a question of what is your vice? And my vice is food. Here's some food. I don't really have my vice is, and you've known me for quite a while now, Tom. I used to have a vice that wasn't that, but nowadays it's just I'm a glutton. That's really my vice. I don't drink much anymore. I've set aside the herb. That's my vice. I would just have to here's food.
Okay.
Here's a lot of food. That's my vice, guys.
I thought about when you asked me about what is my vice, I thought about my late night cereals that I eat. After every dinner now, Alice and I will sit and watch a game or sit and watch TV, sit and watch Top Chef. I always just get out a bowl of cereal for my dessert. And it's probably put on 10 pounds on my body. If I cut that out of my diet, I'd probably just look, a lot better. But I can't. I just love it. It's part of my ritual, and it's a vice. The post dinner bowl of cereal. Right now, I'm really into the Special K with strawberries. I don't even know if I like strawberries as much as I like those condensed cereal strawberry slices. It's just delicious to me. So that would be mine. But a lot of these chefs did procrastination as their vice. And I get it because it can play well in this. And I wanted, from a Top Chef strategy standpoint, Kevin, do you think you first come up with your dish and then you retroactively
reverse engineer your vice?
Reverse engineer, deconstruct it into a vice? Or do you think it helps to come up with a vision through the vice and then build the dish from there?
I think it's one of those, if I can just be honest. Oh, by the way, let me just ask you, in terms of your breakfast cereal, do you go with my vice with breakfast cereal, which is just half and half?
No, but it's amazing. You are the first person I've ever heard about this. It is
breakfast
amazing.
cereal should be eaten with half and half. I'm sorry. If you're going to do it, just do it. I mean, it's fantastic. But I think it's one of those that honestly, and especially with 17 contestants, where you probably won't get, if your food is good, it doesn't really matter, as Ron demonstrated, or in others, is I think you pick your dish and you just bullshit.
Yeah.
I got to think now. Look, I mean, if you come out of the box with, "Hey, I'm a bad Jew," you obviously go for the pork or the lobster or whatever, way up on the hierarchy of trafe, as I call it. They're actually, it's not as binary as I think maybe non-Jews understand that. Kosher, it's not. I mean, yes, technically by the letter of the Old Testament, it is kosher, not kosher. But the truth is, there are just things that are more unkosher than others. My father would go through life, he would eat pepperoni, he would eat sausage, he'd never touch ham. There was just something a little more goisha about ham.
Really?
Than pepperoni and sausage. There was a hierarchy of traits. My family in Charleston is Orthodox. I mean, they are legitimately Orthodox. And yet they would go out and eat shrimp. And like, if you ask my Orthodox grandfather, who was like a member of the Chevra Kadisha at his Orthodox shul, like that is like the people who take care of the bearing. It's a very holy honor in the Orthodox tradition. But he's like, if shrimp was not supposed to be kosher, then God wouldn't have put it in the ocean outside Charleston, Carolina. And that was always his response. And so he had a hierarchy of treif / non-kosher, which had like shrimp lower than like my Northeastern friends who were kept kosher was like, they didn't touch shrimp. So I was just so amused by that, obviously.
That was such a great line.
By the way, I've lost half the audience, by the way.
No, I love hearing about that because I actually didn't even know that like lobster was considered non-kosher.
Oh yeah, lobster's a big one, man. But it's not as big as pork.
I know.
Like for whatever reason, like pork, and then like the gradations of pork. But it was, I think with the Vice, I think it's one of those bullshit elimination challenges. I hate to say it, where you kind of, as you say, you reverse engineer it, right?
And they all love to booze. Man, that was the through line. There was a couple procrastinations there with Kevin, and I think Ash did too. But man, they all were just like, yeah, I love to drink. And Jen mentioned that, and Wolfgang Puck. I gotta say, I loved Wolfgang Puck on this episode. I thought he was a lot of fun.
Oh, he was a blast. I mean, other than the completely xenophobic comment, which I'm sure he wouldn't utter today, but he was a lot of fun. I mean, there were some zingers and fastballs. I mean, I like when they're a little bitchy, to be honest. I mean, I don't want complete just praise all the time. So you know, I really think in terms of the quick fire, Robin, let's talk about Robin keeping her immunity, Tom.
Yes, I'm glad you brought this up. She had the opportunity. So she wins quickfire immunity simply
she doesn't even win. Right. She just kind of lucks into it.
Straight up luck. She gets the gold coin or whatever, and she wins the lottery, and her reward is that she gets to get immunity for the next round. She wins. She sits out of the quickfire, and then she had the opportunity to come back in and win have a chance to win $15,000. And she was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good for immunity. I'm just going to sit this out. And I appreciated that. You know, some people might, Melissa might have done this. Melissa might have been like, you know what? I'm going to give up immunity and I'm going to fight with the other contestants and fight for a chance to win this quickfire. I applaud Robin playing the game a little bit and saying, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to give up my immunity. I'm going to go and sit on the sidelines here. She gives up the chance at 15 grand, and she maintains immunity, which is good because she forgot to put her sauce on the plate.
I got to tell you, Tom, I disagree wholeheartedly. As much as I hate to say it, I'm with Mike Isabella on this. If you don't have confidence that you can finish in the top 16 out of 17 and you would forego a 1 in 5 chance at 15 grand, I'm sorry. Like, you don't belong anywhere near the competition.
No,
Tom, I'm sorry. There's a threshold, and I think it's about 8 contestants, maybe 9, where if you offer me that bargain, I take the immunity. Because now you're getting down to by virtue of being down to 8 or 9, you have probably really 8 or 9 really good chefs. So
this is LeBron playing a back-to-back against Charlotte and saying, you know what, my back is a little tight.
It's not back-to-back against Charlotte, Tom. It's 15 grand. It's not back-to-back against Charlotte.
She's not guaranteed to get that 15 grand.
No, but my point is look, if it's 17 contestants, if you can't finish in the top, if you don't have faith that you're going to finish in the top 16, by the way, she wouldn't have lost. Her dish was fine. She just missed the sauce. Like, I'm sorry. I'm with Mike Isabella on this. It's bullshit. It's like, what are you doing there? Oh, I'm afraid I'm going to get eliminated on the first freaking week do you know how bad you have to be to get eliminated and especially in a non-all-star season? You know how bad you have to make Seitan fucking chili rellenos. Okay? Like that's how bad you have to brick. Like, you have to do worse than those poorly seared scalp. By the way, I will say this, Tom Haberstroh. Your friend Kevin Arnovitz would have gotten out of the first round of this Top Chef. I can, in 2 and 3 hours, make a better dish than those 2 clunkers.
Wow. I can't disagree with you. This was not season 17 All-Stars.
No, this was the G League showcase, my friend.
That was, Jen from the beginning got weird vibes.
Oh, she was by the way, she was a boss, that Jen Carroll. Are you talking about Jen Carroll? Because I love that ceviche. That was a ballsy. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I'm talking about, obviously Jen Carroll's a boss. She did the ceviche. It was great. She wins the quick fire. This is not Top Chef. This is not Top Ceviche or whatever Top Crudo. She wins with the ceviche. It was a great dish. I'm talking about Gen Z, who got eliminated for her Relleno. Now, I got weird vibes from her in the beginning because she was like, I don't want to unpack because I'm superstitious. And I'm like, girl, that's trouble right there. She didn't even have to unpack because she got sent home for what I had to look up what seitan was. So please help me with this. It's just gluten?
It's got a nuttiness to it. So there was I used to go to this market in Santa Fe when I lived there called Wild Oats, which we'd call Wild Goats. And it was sort of a proto Whole Foods.
Yeah. I had a Wild Oats in Norwalk, Connecticut. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So they always had a good barbecue seitan. And it was a period where I was not eating meat. And it's sort of I think it's gluten, but it's kind of got a nuttiness to it, which I think actually can be pleasant. I mean, at the end of the day, Kevin Gillespie is more right than wrong when he says nobody fucking likes that shit. And I think that's a direct quote. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of risky. It just looked terrible. It looked like an elephant turd. It just looked so bad.
It looked like a shoe dusted with cornbread.
Yeah. So she goes out on it, but I have some very interesting facts about Jennifer. And in a segment we're going to call, Tom, this was your idea, Where Are They Now? Each season 6 episode, we are going to examine and investigate where 10 years, 11 years after the fact this chef is. So, Jennifer Zavala is still in Philadelphia, and she has vegan meatballs that she's sort of known for. And there is actually an article in Philadelphia Magazine, which is a good, by the way, one of the better city magazines in this. I had friends who work there, called "Here's the Recipe for the Vegan, quote, Meatballs That Pissed Off South Philly." So apparently in South Philly, they have which is, a venerable Italian community in this country. And still is. I mean, one of the last places where I think there's just like a truly inner core Italian community. They have a meatball contest, and she enters with vegan meatballs. I believe this is 2018. And just the purest among them are revolting. She also, interestingly enough, Tom, she has a catering service. She will come to your house and cook a delicious medical grade marijuana infused meal for you and your friends, something she does regularly for those who are sick. The food is delicious, and Zavala, of illegal South Philly tamale truck fame, is as entertaining as the drugs themselves. So she will prepare a medical grade pot meal, and apparently in Philadelphia, Tom, had a food truck, a legal food truck, where she sold pot tamales until she was shut down.
This is incredible, Kevin. This is amazing. Talk about reinventing yourself, getting kicked off a reality TV show and coming around and basically being a drug dealer, but authorized to cook with pot.
Let's call her an exotic chef. I don't think that's fair.
I'm saying that in a loving fashion. I love this idea.
You love your drug dealers, yes.
Yes, and in the NBA, Kevin, a lot of NBA players or former NBA players are into this whole cannabis-infused meals. Like they dig it. And so there's a real market for this. She's on Instagram at Foxy Lady Chef. And she's still doing these like kind of pop-up kitchen, tamales or these, I don't know, what is it? Cannabis food? Like, what do you?
No, it's pot. I mean, look, it's like, I'm sure you've had more, than one pot brownie in your day. I have some pot espresso beans, and by the way, that's cool. I mean, hats off to her. She went out first, but I have much respect. A medical grade marijuana infused business is a great business. And a tamale truck, that's fantastic. Good for her.
I'm glad to see that this
she recovered from the chili relleno, Tom.
Yes, she did. And when we get back to basketball and we watch the 76ers in the finals one year, we're gonna have to go hit up Jen and go hit up some tamales. This sounds amazing.
It is It is. Yeah, it was good. So that is our Where Are They Now, Pete. Let's talk about the Elimination Challenge a little bit. Again, I don't want to go through the whole. I mean, I don't think we need to do that. But I mentioned Mateen's little potato puree inside or zucchini rind. It was like, again, something out of Michael's. I don't know that dish would be made in 2020.
If it is, it's probably at like a Chili's or something like that.
Right.
It's just not. It's not something we really see anymore in the hip and restaurants. I think it's. I think he's a super talented chef, but it's funny to see what was considered like a really beautifully put together dish when, like, I don't know if that dish was in season 17 All-Stars, what they would say about it.
Yeah. Also, and you could see Colicchio's annoyance at just lots of drizzle and puree. You know, it was definitely, and it was fun to see it. I mean, by the way, though, that potato and zucchini thing, that's like out of 1990. I mean, he was 10 years late from being 10 years late, right? But the drizzle and puree situation was definitely just loose. And it was just funny and you could see Colicchio's annoyance. It was kind of like the Italian chefs the other week on season 17.
You know what I appreciate about Judge's Table, and I forgot this is how it went down, is when Padma goes in, or she doesn't go in. Sorry, she tells which chefs need to be brought back out. So Ron, the winning chefs in the top 4. You know, she says, please go tell the contestants so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, please come out to the judges' table. I had forgotten that this is how it used to be, is like they're waiting in the waiting room in the back pantry and they're just getting bombed. They're getting hammered off of wine or whatever they're doing. And there's someone who's got to be the messenger. And this one, it was Ron, who was like, Jen and so-and Jesse or whoever it was, you got to come out. They want to see you. And I forgot that they kind of got away from that in recent years.
Yeah. And am I correct that there was like this, there used to be this suspense where when they said, we want to see these 4 people, and everyone looks around like, oh my God, are we the good list or the bad list? Whereas everybody knows now, like the first group's going to be the chopping. No, it's the first group's going to be the winners and the second group is going to be the chopping block. Right. But it was funny to go, harken back 11 years. And it was sort of like, and maybe it was the way they edited it, but like the 4 of them are standing in front of the judges' table and Padma kind of reveals, congratulations. And they all have this sigh of relief as if, and now I kind of love that about the show. They just gotta like, hey, we're not going to overplay. Like we've come to our decision. We're not going to overplay the suspense of, these 4 people could be the winners or they could be the losers. Right. And that was funny too. It looked as if I was very confused. And I think this is another thing they've gotten much more specific about. I was very concerned about until they got into the kitchen. I was confused about the structure. They were teams, but they weren't teams. Like I thought, okay, are they cooking a 4-course meal together? Because the way they framed it, what they basically created were regionals, sort of pods,
yes,
where group play, if you will, in the parlance of soccer and global soccer. And I was just thoroughly confused about that.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal, but I guess that's just kind of how it's a numbers game where you just got to break it down into teams when there's 17 chefs. Just a kind of final thoughts here, Kevin, is Padma, it felt like she was more of a host rather than a judge. Did you notice that a little bit more?
Yeah, I guess somewhat. I mean, it seemed like you're suggesting that like Colicchio was like a more prominent voice in the evaluation process.
Yeah, it felt like she was more of a point guard in this. She wasn't really giving her input as much as she does now on the dishes. Whereas now she's an equal footing with all the other judges with her takes and her input. Whereas on this episode, maybe this is just a 1 episode thing, but it really felt like Padma was the point guard giving the ball to other people.
Yeah, and it's funny now that you mention it. Yes, and you're right. Like, as the series has progressed, she's much more vocal as an actual judge, and rightly so. I mean, by the way, I'm very excited to watch her show. At some point, I have to carve out time to do that. It also looked like that it's very possible that Michael Voltaggio had the second best dish of the night, and yet because he was in the same pod with Gillespie, never made it to the final table.
I thought Michael was going to win. Like I thought,
right.
Didn't you kind of feel like he was going to have like either the winning dish or certainly be in the top 4?
Well, he did have the top 4. I mean, again, what I don't like about the structure of a challenge like that is, hey, you know what? there's 16 contestants, 17. Just pick the 4 best and pick the 4 worst. Don't pod them out again, because it's not like as if it's sort of like those divisions with balanced schedules. Like, what's the point of having the division if you're not actually going to have, cooking against one another? And so what you end up with is the 93 Braves and the 93 Giants. The 2 best teams in arguably in the entire decade.
Wait, no, Kevin, I don't think Michael Voltaggio was in the top 4.
Wait, he was in Kevin's group, right? No, my point is he had one of the 4 best meals, but by virtue of this arbitrary, right? What I'm saying is the arbitrary pods. I'm just not for. I just don't think it gotta just have the 4 best dishes up there.
Right. If he was in Ron's team, for example,
right. He had a better dish than 3 out of 4 of those chefs, probably.
Right. With his rack, which I couldn't tell if he was saying his vice is that he likes breasts or whether he likes that Vegas likes breast. I couldn't figure out his story, but the dish looked amazing.
Right. It goes to your reverse engineering. At the end of the day, you make shit up to conform to or not even conform, just to suggest even the slightest bit that you've followed the challenge. Because especially with 17, you're just not going to get out there. Tom, closing thoughts. This is fun. We're doing, the rewatch is a blast.
Yeah, I guess I was underestimating how fun it is to just go back in time and watch this. Seeing how sunburnt Michael and Brian Voltaggio were in their confessionals, like they had fallen asleep outside of the MGM Grand, and seeing how young they looked. Like Brian Voltaggio looks like he's 15. I think it's added so much more fun than just watching it live. I think we're enjoying it and experiencing it differently now than when we watched in seasons. And then, you know what? It's been so long. It's really, really cool to do this rewatch, and I hope people enjoy it as much as we did.
For Tom Haberstrom, this is Kevin Ornament, and this is Pack Your Knives.